it's Cece, and today I'm here to talk about all of the things that I'm planning to read in the month of May. And all of them is a big word this month because I have big plans. I'm calling May my month of sequels. I'm reading almost exclusively sequels in the month of May, and that's kind of terrifying because they're all huge, and I've possibly aimed too high. But I guess that's just how I'm doing things, because I'm also graduating in May. I'm graduating on May 13th from college, and that's horrifying. But after that, I'm going to Disney for a week, and so that is a good positive for the fact that I'm hurtling towards adulthood with no concept of what I'm going to be doing as a grown-up who's not in college. It's fine. I'm clearly not stressed about this. But let's just pretend that didn't happen and talk about all the books I'm going to read in May. Because all of these are sequels, I'm not going to be talking about what they're about. I'll give you like a quick summary of what the first book was about. Let's just jump into it with the book I'm currently reading. This monster. Knock 'em off. So, A Court of Mist and Fury. This is the second book in the ACOTAR trilogy. Court of Thorns and Roses is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. A lot of people may have heard of it. I liked the first one. I thought it was interesting, and I thought the world was kind of interesting. This one, everyone says, is absolutely incredible, gonna knock my socks off. I'm just gonna fall right over because it's so great. This book is huge, people. This is an enormous book. I've read about 50 pages so far. That's 50 pages worth. This is how much I have left. This is what I have read. It's alarming, but I'm hoping I love it. Also, I will hopefully be attending a Sarah J. Maas event this Friday, the 5th. So, if you are going to a Sarah J. Maas event in Pennsylvania on the 5th of May, I'm hopefully going to be there, if things work out. And I'm going to get my hands on a copy of A Court of Wings and Ruin, because that's like coming out. That's like out today, isn't it? Woo! Next up, I want to talk about a couple of my challenges and what I'll be reading for those challenges. Every month, I have to read at least one book off of my top 15 to read in 2017 list. I will leave that video linked above. And one of those books, the one that I'm planning to read this month, is Eona by Alison Goodman. This is the sequel to a book called Eon, which I read last summer. It's about a girl named Eona who disguises herself as a boy to learn dragon magic. Very magical and adventurous, and I've been really interested in reading the second book in this duology, so this is the second book, but it's also the final book. I don't know why I've been putting it off. I've had this book forever, so I'm excited to finally finish off this series, find out what happens to Eona and all the other characters. It's about time I got to this. I also have to read at least one 2017 release every single month, and this month I'm planning on reading Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. Tor sent me an advanced copy of this book. They reached out and asked if I wanted a copy, and obviously yes, it's one of my most anticipated releases of the year. This is being released in June. It's the sequel to Every Heart a Doorway, which was one of my favorite books last year about children who go through doors to other worlds and then come back different than they were before. It's fabulous. This is actually a prequel about two characters from that book called Jack and Jill and the worlds that they visited. I loved Jack and Jill. They were great, and honestly, I can't believe that Tor sent this to me. This was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. It's small, and it's gonna be fabulous. Other than that, I have 3 other sequels I'd really love to get to. We'll see if that happens. First of all, we have Swarm by Scott Westerfeld, Margo Lanagan, and Deborah Biancotti. This is the sequel to Zeros, which is a book about 6 kids with superpowers in California, and they all come together and become like superheroes even though they're not perfect people. It was a really cool first book. It was a great group dynamic, and I've had this book for way too long and haven't read it yet. Oops. I keep putting this in TBRs and I keep not reading it, so another month, this is on the TBR. Let's hope we actually get to it. It would also be great if I could get to The Dragon's Blade Veiled Intentions by Michael R. Miller. This was sent to me by the author. I read the first book, The Dragon's Blade, The Reborn King, like 2 years ago. I have a review up on my channel, which I will leave on the screen. And it's just a high fantasy book about battles and a guy who's the Dragon King, who's trying to reclaim his throne and fight off a demon horde. The first book was really interesting. It played with some cool fantasy tropes, and I've been trying to remind myself of the plot of the first book because it's been a while since I've read that one, but there were some characters I was really interested in, so I'm hoping I'll be able to jump in and just remember where I picked off. find out what happens in book 2. Because when I finished book 1, I was really excited to read the second one. It's just taken a little while to get here. And the final sequel that I would really, really love to get to is A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. This is the third and final book in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, or the Shades of Magic trilogy. This is also a 2017 release, so this would also count for that goal. Shades of Magic trilogy is about parallel worlds, the ability to travel between them. There's a lot of magic and battles. It's one of my favorite series. I've given both of the previous books 5 stars, and I'm hoping that I love this one just as much, but it is enormous. Like, this and A Court of Mist and Fury are so incredibly intimidating this month because they're bricks. They're both so heavy. So I'm still gonna try to get through this even though it super intimidates me. So there you go. These are the books that I'm planning on reading in the month of May. All sequels. It's an all-sequel month. What are you planning on reading in the month of May? I would be curious to hear what your plans are. Are you gonna be reading A Court of Wings and Ruin? I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. Let me know what you think of my choices that I want to read in the month of May. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!